Hello, and welcome to my channel. It's the Network Specialist. Please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and hit that notification bell so that you know each and every time I upload a video. Everything I will discuss in this video is alleged and in my very own opinion, used for entertainment purposes only. Today, I will be doing a recap of the season premiere of season 2, episode 1, The Braxtons, New Hustles, Old Wounds. Hey, Mama Bees, thank you so much for being here. Hey, Paula, thank you so much for being here. Haven't seen you in a minute. Glad you are here. Okay, guys, let's get into it. So, let me just start off by saying that I don't think Tamar was lying when she said that Tony sent her a cease and desist because she didn't want Tamar to have Ashley on her podcast. So I'm not sure if they had a conversation. So instead of Tamar, it looks like her and Tamar compromised. And what they decided to do was to film the podcast, the live podcast on the show. So, in my opinion, Tony, being the money hungry person that she is, in my opinion, she wanted to exploit Ashley on the show for money, just like they did with Kevin Jr. last season. Like, all of these ladies need the money right now, and we'll get a little bit more into that later on in this live. She was not expecting Tamar to put that out there, though. After they came up with their decision to actually film it on the show, she thought that Tamar would not out the fact that, you know, Tony wanted her to do it on the show for the ratings. Okay. But technically, they both benefited off of having Ashley on the show instead of just being on Tamar's podcast, which Tony degraded, saying that Tamar's podcast was the Chitlin Circuit. And I'm starting to notice that Tony is always throwing shade at Tamar. So even though we haven't seen anything up close and personal yet, I am starting to realize that these sisters don't get along at all. Okay. And I'm also starting to feel like Tony is not the person that everybody thinks she is. I feel like she is the puppet master pulling all the strings behind the scenes. And what was up with Tony continuously repeating her own name, Tony Braxton, like she was talking in third person? Like, girl, we get it. You think you're the shit that you think that your shit don't stink, and you are the star of this family. Hence the name of this video, because what I'm starting to see is that these two sisters, they are fighting to prove who is the bigger star in this family. So I believe that there is a power struggle between Tony and Tamar. Okay. So I feel like Tamar is the better singer, and she was too young, which is why Tony got the spotlight, because Tony was the oldest compared to the girls. So she was the one that was pretty much out there, and then she was pretty much forced to take her sisters along. And I don't believe Tony ever really wanted to share the spotlight. That's why she has even admitted that she don't even like her family, any of them. And she said that if they were not related, they would not be friends. Because I feel like Tony is still bitter that she had to bring her sisters along and share her spotlight. And I also feel like she never really commits herself to anything that doesn't benefit her. And she floats around like she is the queen, bitch. So, what I mean by that is every time her sisters have something going on, 9 times out of 10, Toni does not show up. Okay. And I feel like if your family gives you plenty of advance notice to attend, a function or an event that they have going on, I mean, I understand you're a celebrity, you have appearances, and I know that there are going to be times when you really can't make it, but it appears that Toni can never make it. In season 1, the majority of the time we seen Toni, she was riding in her car. So if you're riding in your car, you're actually not working, you're not doing a show. Most of her scenes were just driving in her car, like she's just this untouchable star. And that's pretty much all we can get from her, unless it was something that would benefit her. She didn't film a lot of scenes with the sisters. And I also feel like these sisters, Toni, Tawanda, and Trina, has teamed up against Tamar. So Tamar is kind of like in this all by herself. And I feel like the reason why these sisters have a problem with Tamar, and don't get me wrong, Tamar is a whole lot, okay? Tamar is what I call very extra, okay? She has a very extra personality. I feel like Tamar is made for reality TV. I feel like she has that star power. And I feel like these sisters are jealous of Tamar because a lot of times it's not how much money you make, it's none of that stuff. Like some people just don't like you or they're jealous of you because of the way that other people love you. And I truly feel like that's what's going on between these sisters. Like Tamar, she doesn't have to sign up for the BS. She's okay with being out there on that boat by herself because Tamar knows the qualities that she possesses. And it was also said that the initial Braxton family values that Tamar and Vince pitched that show. So Tamar had executive producer rights. Okay. And I also feel like they were a little bit jealous because of that, you know. And okay, so let me get back to because I kind of feel like I'm gonna run out of time. So let me kind of stay on track and not, go off on a tangent. So keep in mind, Tamar really doesn't want to film with her family. So I feel like Tamar filmed that first scene with the sisters just so that she could call Toni out on her BS and the fact that she didn't want Ashley to solely be on her podcast. She wanted her to be on the show so that she could exploit her for views. Because honestly, um, that was so shady when she called Tamar out on social media for having her blocked when she could have just picked up the phone and called her sister. Okay, who does that? Like, I totally get where Tamar is coming from because, I do have a couple of family members that I don't speak to in real life, but they will like tag me on social media. And I'm really not on social media like that, but they only want to communicate with you on social media. Like, that says a lot to me. If you can't actually pick up the phone and tell me happy birthday, then I don't want it. But then you had to put it out there that you wanted to wish Tamar happy birthday, but she had you blocked. There's a reason why she got you blocked, Toni. And Mama B says, I just don't like Tamar. She is not my cup of tea. And I get it, Mama Bees. I see what everybody else see in Tamar. And this is not like me choosing Tamar over Toni. It's just me calling out the obvious, honestly. That's what that is. Because Tamar does have a lot of ways that she really does need to work on. But to be honest, I think that Tamar is a reactionary person. Tamar is only reacting to the things that people are doing to her behind the scenes, in my opinion. And some people have a way of throwing shade, low key shade, and trying to make it seem like it's not shade, but it's really shade. And it's really envy. And I feel like everything that's going on and the way she called Tamar out, that just lets us know that they ain't checking for each other behind the scene and they are feuding behind the scene. And that's just what that means. So, my question to the viewers is, if you were a famous family, would you bring your toxic family dynamics to a reality TV show for a check? Drop down in the comments and let me know if you would bring your toxic family dynamics to a reality TV show. Okay. Even if you're watching the replay, give me some feedback on that. So, in the next scene, Tamar is filming with Ashley at a bar, and Ashley being on the show is a win-win for Tamar because no one else besides her mom wants to film with Tamar. And honestly, guys, and I'm gonna say this so that you guys totally know that it's just not all about Tamar, and I'm not defending had Ashley on her show for the views and to be vindictive against the family, okay? Because Tamar was, at one point in time, Tamar was in Ashley's shoes. She was also essayed as a child and she reached out to her family for help and no one was there for her. So she's been there. But with that being said, I still feel like Tamar did it for the views, okay? Obviously, Trina and Tawanda will always film together because they are the least booked and busy out of the family of sisters. And I kind of look at them like they're seat fillers. I mean, to the real stars of the show, which is Toni and Tamar. Nothing against the sisters, but it is what it is. Everybody can't be a star, especially in one family. And Mama B says, in my opinion, the entire family have issues and need personalized counseling. And I absolutely agree with that, Mama B's. And they've been trying to get it. But to be honest, if we're being honest, I feel like Tamar is really the only one that is getting counseling. And she has admitted that she's probably going to need counseling for the rest of her life. Her sisters, they only want to show that they're going to counseling when they can film it on the show. Tamar is going to counseling behind the scenes. And even at her podcast, she said that her friend James and her other best friend, I think her name is Inez or something, I forget her name, they're very heavy into, you know, mental health and things like that. And that's kind of like they're gone. So honestly, I really do feel like Tamar is trying to do the work. Will she fall short sometimes? Absolutely. We all fall short sometimes. But I think that she is consistently trying to do the work. But sometimes it's hard when you have people coming at you left and right. And Mama Beast also said, no, I would not bring the mess to TV. Okay. Thanks for that feedback, Mama Beast. And I also feel like Tawanda is trying so hard to be in the spotlight, which is why she is probably paying for her own wedding with little to no assistance from her future now husband, in my opinion. We know that they film these shows way in advance, so I'm pretty sure that they're already married. But Tawanda did say that she is in her acting bag, and I did do some research, and Tawanda has consistently been acting behind the scenes, and she's also credited for being in about 28 movies. This could be over a lifetime. I'm not sure, but she has really been in her acting bag. I personally watched the movie that she was in called Hood Riches. They have a part one and a part two. And she is actually a very good actor, and she's also been doing some directing as well. Now, it has been said that her and her husband both are certified life coaches. But outside of that, what does he really do? They also mentioned Ashley's sister Lauren as if it was a news article in this episode and said that she died of a heart condition, but that's not what we heard. If I remember correctly, I remember that Lauren died of a fentanyl overdose, allegedly. That's what I remember. But when Tamar spoke on it, she never mentioned a heart condition. She was respectful to the family, and she said that they were celebrating a birthday and something went left. And that was probably the most respectful way she could talk about her deceased niece instead of just putting lies out there like the production. So we were not shocked that Trina chose to address the allegations. Gabe was the one that Ashley was referring to when she said that her aunt, stopped speaking to her after she found out that her husband had came on to her niece. And that was brought to the surface because Ashley's stepmom at the time went through her phone and she seen the text messages between that particular aunt's husband and Ashley. So they called Trina, and at the time, Trina seemed very sympathetic. But then after that, she stopped speaking to Ashley. So Ashley never actually stated to the public which aunt it was, but people just started to put two and two together. And we pretty much figured out that 9 times out of 10, it was probably Gabe. Imagine how boring this season would have been if they didn't include exposing the generation of SA that has occurred in this family. And it does look like they're going to like push this all the way through this season. So, how many episodes do y'all think they are going to drag this out? The interview with Ashley and then the backlash. I feel like this could go on for this entire season and that they are going to completely exploit this situation for views because outside of Tawanda getting married, what else do they have at the storyline? If anybody has a storyline, it's definitely going to be Tamar. So, like I said, this might go on for the entire season. And I do understand where Trina said that you should never hear something about your family on social media for the first time. But this wasn't actually the first time that Trina heard about this. All these years have passed by, and Trina never thought to check on her niece to make sure that she was still okay. If my niece just ups and moves to another country after something so devastating happened to her, I would definitely be checking up on my niece on a regular basis. And, I just feel like she had plenty of time to check up on her niece before her niece decided to tell her story, especially since your husband was the one that was involved. And all of these tears in the scene with Trina and Tawanda was not for Ashley. I feel like Trina is just embarrassed of the fact that she married that pedo twice, even after the fact. So I think those tears are just coming from a place of embarrassment. And then she even had the nerve to say that Ashley's phone number changed and hers didn't. Still not taking accountability. And then Tawanda followed up to say that Trina was also a victim. She was such a victim that she married that ninja twice. Like, I'm not buying it. I don't feel like Trina was a victim. If she would have, dealt with the situation initially when it first happened, then she wouldn't have been a victim. And she couldn't possibly think that this situation would go away after just one phone call, because she needed to continue to have conversations with Ashley, if it was only just to see where Ashley's head was at, to see if Ashley was going to share this information with other friends or whatever the case may be. When you did not check up on your niece, you left things open for anything to happen at that point, because you didn't give her a safe place to discuss this situation. So obviously, she had to go and talk to somebody about it. Yes, she went to therapy. And a part of going to therapy, she probably learned that she needs to talk about it and she needs to confront this situation and she needs to speak on it. And maybe she was even told to call out her abuser. I'm not really sure, but I'm just saying Trina should have followed up just to make sure that they were good, that there was nothing else that Ashley needed from her, and that they were moving on from the situation. Because all of this time, Ashley has been sitting with this, and this is a result of that. Because everybody already know I talk about going to different countries all the time. So for this young girl to just up and move to a whole new country without any family, like she had to be traumatized. And not just from the situation with Gabe, just from a toxic family altogether. So in the next scene, Tamar was getting a liquid butt lift. I didn't even know there was such a thing, but I've never checked for that type of stuff, so I wouldn't know. So, unlike some of the other sisters, Tamar seemed to have the most content about her life that she's willing to share. Because one thing about Tamar, she doesn't mind sharing her life with the public. She's a very open book. And when you start to be very secretive, like a Toni Braxton, then you really don't have no content and you don't have no storyline. Like, you can't have it both ways. If you decide to come on reality TV, you're supposed to share your reality, not a made up fake storyline. But what most of these people do is they focus on the other people on the show so that they can exploit them while they keep their entire life a secret. So Tamar looks like she's in a really good place. And again, I'm actually proud of Tamar for doing the work when it comes to therapy and for just like being on, getting to the money. Okay. Because Tamar has a lot going on. And at the end of the day, how many near death experiences are we going to see from Toni, but nothing about the fact that she was married to Birdman and possibly going through a divorce? Like, when are we going to see Toni's real life? Like, Toni needs to talk about it or she needs to get off the show because it's giving that you want to exploit everyone else but yourself, Toni Braxton. And I'm not here for it. Tamar is great for reality TV, while on the other hand, Toni is giving, I want to be on TV without being on TV. That's what Toni is giving. And Toni, please prove me wrong. I'm here for it. Like inquiring minds want to know, why did Birdman practically leave you at the altar to return to Kamora Simmons? Like, why did that happen? We want the tea, Toni. You really don't have a lot, else going on. So give us something. Now, that could be clickbait, but now I'm hearing supposedly Tamar is putting it out there that Birdman left Toni because she also had a BBL and her BBL was stained. Now, I don't know how much truth there is to that. Allegedly, we all know how the internet can be, and sometimes you can't believe everything that you hear. But let me also share something else, guys, before I move on really quickly about Birdman and Toni. So it's being said that when Toni filed for divorce and then she changed her mind, and now they're not in the process of getting a divorce. It is being said that Birdman is about to lose $100 million in divorce settlement to his wife, Toni Braxton. And the reason why is because Birdman and Toni dated for 16 years before getting married last year in a secret wedding. But in a surprising turn of events, his wife filed for divorce just 14 days after they got married. Their love lasted 16 years, but the marriage couldn't last even a month. She withdrew her divorce from Birdman in January of 2025, apologized to him, and said that she was not a gold digger. And this was shortly after Birdman's company revealed that Birdman will earn 40 million yearly starting 2025 rather than 20 million he was earning in the previous years. This means Toni Braxton will receive half of 200 million if she waits until 2026 rather than half of 160 million she would have received if she went through with the divorce last year. According to reports, she is currently preparing to file for another divorce. Marriage is just a business for women these days. Okay. So that's what's being said out here, allegedly. Now, I don't know how true that statement is, but what I'm trying to show you guys is, Toni, in my opinion, is a low key gold digger. And Oprah Winfrey says that she's wasteful. And she was so hurt by the interview that she did with Oprah Winfrey because basically Oprah Winfrey called her out, for having these bankruptcies because she doesn't know how to spend her money. Like she doesn't know how to budget her money. And that's what Oprah Winfrey said. And it's looking like she's a gold digger, okay? And she wants to spend everybody else's money but her own. So that's news to me about the BBL because I never even knew that Toni had a BBL. I always praised Toni for having a natural body. So, you know, I'm not sure how true that statement is. Now, this is what I want to know. Why does Miss E look younger than Trina? And are they going to torture Trina about her weight the way that they did Tracy? Do y'all remember how they were always teasing Tracy about her weight? I've never heard them do that with Trina. And we all know that Trina's weight fluctuates up and down, mainly up. And Trina also looks like she is stress eating and stress drinking. I still love Trina. I just don't like the way her and Tawanda move. I really don't like the way that they move. Even her husband is suspect. And it appears that her husband is a controlling narc. And I only say this because I was following Trina on her YouTube channel and I really wanted to support Trina. But I'm going to need Trina to get a backbone because it seems like he controls every aspect of her life. It seems like he controls every aspect of her Monday night cooking show on her YouTube channel. So much so that I stopped watching after a few episodes. Like the people were eating his ass up in the comments, and a lot of people just did not like Vaughn's energy. Okay. But in Vaughn's defense, at least he appears to have a real job, unlike Tawanda's husband. Vaughn owns a chronic pain center in the St. Louis area, and He has also had a background in the corporate sector in investments, and he was also with Wells Fargo in the home mortgage department. So Toni is currently still doing her residency in Vegas with said the entertainer. So hopefully we will get to see some behind the scenes and footage from her show. They could have left out the scene with Toni and the producer. She started out talking about alimony with this producer. And then when she spoke of the idea that she wanted to pitch to a network, it was something that had nothing to do with alimony. And I was confused. Now we have heard through the grapevine that Tamar is getting producer credits from this show. And if not this show, she did with the Braxton family values. And I'm inclined to believe that she's also getting executive producer credits for this show as well. Because I did peek when they ran the credits that they listed all of the sisters and the mom, except for Tamar, when it came to executive producer credits. And then they separately listed Tamar's name. So I just feel like, Tamar is getting executive producer credits when it comes to this show. And I also feel like Toni has been in this game too long to be letting silly ass Tamar outdo her. I'm just saying. These are the things that y'all say about Tamar. A lot of people have a lot to say about Tamar, but Tamar is out here getting to the bag. I don't watch all of her shows, but I do know that she has a show. I want to say, is it that she catches people cheating? I don't know. I maybe watched one or two episodes, or maybe I've seen some clips online, but she's doing that. She's putting out music. She has her podcast. I mean, she's acting. Tamar's doing a lot. And that was one of the things that Oprah Winfrey said to Toni. She told her that she is too successful to keep filing for bankruptcy. And she's basically saying that, you know, she's materialistic. And I tend to believe her, being that she married Birdman, she married trash ass Birdman. And I'm going to say that with her good, wholesome image. Like, how many of you guys was shocked when Toni married Birdman? Like, I really didn't see that one coming. I mean, you love who you love, but I really just did not see that one coming. So for me, it had to be the money. And I wonder if Birdman, if they end up not getting a divorce, will he film for this season? So now we're coming up on the scene with Tamar at her live podcast that she's supposed to have Ashley on her show. So Tamar said a prayer, but what did y'all think about Tamar's slogan and what they were chanting when they were taking a shot? They said, G's up, hoes down. If that bitch can't swim, let that bitch drown. And I'm mostly focusing on Tamar because James had a little bit different version of it. But I know this started from Tamar more than likely. So I really wanted to see what she had to say. Imagine if you were Ashley sitting there getting ready to do this podcast, and this is what these people are chanting. I think I would have been a little fearful if I'm being real. Like, what the F? I thought that was a little crazy. And she probably was thinking to herself, like, what have I gotten myself into? And I was really paying attention to Ashley, and she really looked like she was in deep thought. I felt like, um, in my opinion, I felt like she was saying to herself that I know that they are all exploiting me, but we all going to get something out of this deal. And exposure might just be just what I need right now. So I feel like Ashley knows that everybody, including Tamar, is exploiting her. But I feel like Ashley also feels like this is her big break because she definitely needs the exposure. Ashley is doing a lot of acting. She wants to put her name out there. And honestly, they said, you know, all press is good press. So whether it's good press or bad press, you know, it's all a part of putting yourself out there and getting exposure, which is why a lot of times when people have a new show or anything coming up, they want to go viral just so that they get their name trending out there on social media. So, shout out to the beautiful Ashley Braxton. And guys, if you don't already, please go and follow Ashley's YouTube channel. I'm pretty sure she's gotten a lot of, new subscribers since this show has aired. So, I'm definitely going to stay tuned and see what Ashley has coming up for the future. So, my short prediction after watching season 2, episode 1 is that Tamar and Tawanda, heavy on the Tamar, is going to carry this season. Okay. Unfortunately, Funky Dineva didn't know it, but that night when Tamar talked him into going outside, clubbing to celebrate his birthday, really, I feel like that was Tamar's big reveal with her new body, okay? Because we have since found out that Tamar got a breast enhancement. She got a liquid BBL. So I feel like that was her coming out, you know, and she was also celebrating all, her accomplishments that were coming down the pipeline. That's why she was over there twerking all on Funky Dineva because again, she's showing off her new body. She want to shake some, you know. So she was also celebrating her podcast airing live for the first time because she's had that, this podcast. This is the second season, but she's never did a live podcast. I feel like she was also celebrating the return of the Braxtons and the fact that she went from being a friend of the show to reclaiming her spot on the show as, a full-time cast member. She's also going on tour and allegedly she's dropping new music. So Tamar had a lot to celebrate. Okay. Tamar was in the very first scene of this episode 1, and she was also in the last scene of the show. I pay attention to details. For me, that says something. Again, Tamar is the bigger star. Tamar came back as a full time cast member to reclaim her spot on this show. Toni, you have played in Tamar's space one too many times. And Tamar is not going to stop until she shows and proves that she is the star of this family and the highest earning person in this family. Why do you think Miss E is sticking with her? Okay. Miss E goes where the money is at. Okay. So, guys, that's going to be it for this recap of the Braxtons season 1. I'm sorry, season 2, episode 1. If you did not like the video on your way in, please like the video on your way out. And if you just happen to be catching the replay, please like the video and subscribe to the channel and drop down in the comment section so that we can keep this conversation going. And Mama Bees also said, it is beyond crazy. It was stupid. I'm sorry, Mama Bees. I missed that comment. I'm not exactly sure what you were referring to in that moment. I missed that comment. If you could quickly let me know what you were referring to when you made that comment. So, again, guys, drop down in the comments and, let me know what you think about the premiere episode um, of this new season. Oh, the prayer. Exactly. They went from a prayer to taking a shot, and chanting, that statement. Yeah, that was a little weird. But however, I do love the fact that Tamar obviously prays before she performs. I love that for her. I feel like everybody should do that. I know Escape does the same thing, and I'm pretty sure most celebrities and entertainers they say a prayer before they go out on stage or before, they come out. So shout out to her for that. So again, guys, please like the video so that we can keep my videos into the algorithm. I really do appreciate your support of the channel. And thank you guys so much for watching and bye for now.